So I have an old tubular Mavic wheel here, but the problem that I have is that the wheel came with a Uniglide freehub, and I want to put a 7-speed Hyperglide cassette on it. And the difference between the Hyperglide and the Uniglide is these slots here on the Uniglide are all equally spaced, so you can kind of orient the sprockets on the cassette in different orientations, which is why they have these kind of pin here to orient it. So what I want to do is I want to put this Hyperglide cassette on, and here's the old Hyperglide freewheel. This is a Hyperglide that's Uniglide compatible, so it has an external thread and an internal thread, but it's got a wide spot here and a narrow feature there. So there's some people that have successfully converted some of these free hubs. The one I have is not easily convertible. So what I need to do is I need to steal this threaded small cog from the Uniglide, which will go in place of the small cog here. There are 13 tooth cogs and the lock ring that it used to use. And then what I'm going to do is take this wide tooth here and my Dremel tool with this barrel sander and sand this wide tooth off. So I've already kind of started on this side, and I'm basically going to sand that tooth so it's if I can sand the whole tooth off, it'll be fine, but as long as I sand the side closest to the narrow space off, it should fit okay on my Uniglide. So I've got pretty much that ground completely flush. There's a little bit sticking up on the side here, but that shouldn't matter. So if you look at it now, it should fit on the splined part of the Uniglide that is all equally spaced. That actually fits on great. And what I have to do now is use my my Uniglide lock, or my Uniglide small cog. So my 6-speed threaded cog was actually a little bit too tall. It had a little bit of space between the threads and the end of the metal. So I wasn't able to actually get the thread started. So what I could have done is I could have got a 7-speed threaded cog, but I had a friend at a tool shop that was actually able to machine it down and make it the same height as the 7-speed cog that came off the Hyperglide. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread that in. And keep in mind when you do this, if you do have to buy a different cog, almost all the Hyperglide threads are the same, and they're 34.6 millimeter threads. But this particular one is a Dura-ace, which means it's 32 millimeters. So I can't just use just any old Uniglide on it. And then all I have to do now is just put my chain whip on it and tighten it up. And I got it pretty tight, and I think I'm just gonna let it tighten itself the rest of the way when I ride on it. But that's one way to convert your Uniglide over to a Hyperglide.